Hi everyone, welcome to Watch It Played. My name is Rodney Smith and I'm here at the GTS Distributions Come and Play Day in Atlanta. I'm not alone, I'm here with Sara from iello. And you brought a big old book of madness with you.
Yeah, all the way here from Montana.
Yeah, and I actually know a little bit about the theme of this game. Do you mind if I...
Please,
see,
yeah.
You see if I got this right. So, as I understand it, we've got a group of young apprentices studying magic, right? And they've been studying and they know a few basic spells, but they're kind of, they want to get to the good stuff, right? They want those advanced, powerful spells to cast. And the teachers are holding them back. They're forcing them to read and do homework and all this other stuff they don't want to do. And they've heard there's this book down in the basement and they want to go in there because I think this is where all the good stuff is. This is where we're going to find all the amazing spells. And the professors, of course, have told them never open this book because you got to stay away from it, but they ignore that. And they head down there and they open it up, and lo and behold, actually, it's a prison for all kinds of scary monsters and creatures that have been trapped down there. It's not full of good spells at all. It's just terrible, and it's going to devour everything and destroy the world. So they now they're in a little bit of a bind, right? Because now they have to learn very quickly to stop these monsters. How's that? Is that about right?
Yeah, that's where we're at. Yep.
Well, that's the extent of my knowledge. It's all over to you now. It's all on you, Sara, to take us the rest of the way there.
Awesome. So we're set up now. We've got these character cards. We picked a couple of them.
Yes.
And these are the students that went to the basement. So they are first-year students at magic school, so they've only got these basic spells that they can use.
Right.
And they have to use those to defeat these scary monsters that are coming out. And to show you an example, this is our big book of madness. And the first thing that they see when they open up this book is this particular monster.
This is randomly generated, right? Like there's a few cards, there's some covers, unique cover, unique bottom, and then there's some in the middle, right, that you mix in?
Yeah, every single time you play this game, you're going to be facing different monsters in different orders that do different effects. So very replayable. I really like that about it.
Okay.
So this particular game that we're playing right now, we got these scary hornets. And when they come into play, they have an effect that happens. And then we put out some curses. So it says that we do this effect. And then we're also going to see these curses fly out at us. And we're going to have to deal with them, or else bad things are going to happen. So to be able to play the game and deal with these monsters, we each have a few of these elements. And this is our deck that we've built, and each one is going to be a different starting deck based on the character you play.
Oh, okay, it tells you how many of each of these to grab to create your starting deck.
Exactly,
I see. Okay.
Yep. These are elements that we're going to use to pay the costs of playing different spells or different actions that you can take during your turn. So the first thing you do is actually you shuffle this up, and then you're going to draw 6 of these elements. Then you can use those elements on your turn to do these different actions I'll tell you about.
Sure.
So,
and this is a cooperative game, right? We're working together.
It is, yeah. So all of the magic students, 2 to 5 of them, went down to the basement, and they're all working together to try and defeat these monsters. Yeah, so when it's your turn, you are going to draw you're going to have your 6 cards.
Yes.
And you can use these to do these spells. So we've got draw a card. You could do that once using green. You can destroy a card from your hand. It is a deck building game, so sometimes you want to modify what's in your deck.
Okay.
And then you also can let other people take an action. So maybe you've got everything you need to be able to get rid of this curse here before the turn changes and we have to deal with it. So I might give you an action so that you can take care of that ahead of time.
Because I'm better equipped maybe to deal with that particular curse.
Because we have very different characters that have different starting decks and also different abilities that might be able to defeat those.
And how many times can you use your spells during a round? Is it
Good question. So when you use a spell, it's exhausted and you can't use it again until your concentration fades of the next round. So then they'll untap. So you can give other people actions. You can also place a card into what's called the support pool. This is a cool part of the game. So if I have this red card and I know you're going to need it on your turn, I can put it into one of these 3 support places by using my blue element here. So I would discard the blue element, put this into the support, and when it's your turn, you can use this as if it were in your hand. So we can share a little bit, but not everything we have.
And does this count against your hand size?
It doesn't. So we still would get to draw back up to 6 at the end of our
And still have
turn
access to this.
and have those.
Okay, so I can see how that would be valuable.
Yep, definitely helpful.
What are these down here?
That's a great question. So one of the actions you can do on your turn, other than playing these spells, is actually spending some of your elements to get better, more interesting spells. You can have up to 5 spells at a time. So you could take one of these and add it to your spell list by paying the cost, and now you have access to something different. But in the future, now we have access to even a better green spell. We dug down in there a little bit, learned a little bit more about green. But if I want to buy this, I have to cover up something else I have. So maybe you're really focusing on your red spells, and that's kind of what you do. So maybe I cover up my red, and I don't have access to
Leave it to me.
that
Okay,
anymore.
I gotcha.
Yep, so that's how those special spells work. So now that we know how to use our spells, what are we trying to do with them?
Yeah.
Well, this monster has come out here and he's thrown these curses out. And if we can't deal with them fast enough, then bad things are going to happen. So before we get here, or maybe even after, we want to have 4 white elements or 4 blue elements to be able to defeat that curse.
I see a little problem with that, though.
What's the problem?
Well, looking at what we start with in our deck, I've only got at most 3 of any one of these elements.
Very perceptive. You would need 4 white to be able to
Yes.
defeat that. So how do you do that? Well, one way is to get cards into your support to share a little bit.
Okay,
but
right,
another
right.
way to do that is making your deck better. This
Sure.
is a deck building game, so we've got to upgrade stuff. One of the actions you can take on your turn is discarding 2 or 3 an element and adding an upgraded version of that element to your deck. So now you have even more of that same element that you'll be able to use to defeat stuff later.
Right.
So that's really helpful. But another reason why you want to add stuff to your deck is that if you've played several turns and you've drawn more cards and you run out of cards in your deck and you can't draw back up to 6, you have to shuffle your deck, your discard pile.
Sure.
But every time you shuffle your discard pile, you've got to add one of these madness cards to it. These cards are really not useful in the game as far as in your hand.
Do they just clog up your
do
hand? Is that
anything.
basically it? They're just...
Even worse than that. So
Oh, dear.
if you draw one of these, and so now you've got your 6 cards out here, at the end of your turn, you can't discard this card. You can't play it. It gets stuck in your hand, and now it's taking up one of your 6 spots.
Okay.
There is an action that you can take to cure this card. You can discard 2 of your elements and cure it, which makes it go back in here. Or you can use your spell to be able to destroy it.
Right.
The problem is that if you destroy it, it goes out of the game. And if it leaves the game, you can't come back. And if you run out of this pile, you lose the game.
Okay.
Also, if you ever end up with 6 of these in your hand at one time, you're also out. So you have to be very careful to manage your madness.
Okay.
Don't go crazy.
Don't go crazy. Seems like just good advice in general, really.
That's important usually.
Yes.
So as you go through the game, when it's the end of my turn, I'm going to move this here. If I have not defeated that curse, a bad thing's going to happen. And usually they do have to do with madness or discarding cards or destroying cards. So you can get through a few of those and have a few things happen that are not great. But if you let too many of those things go by, your deck's going to get worse. You're going to lose some of your good spells. So as you go through, you're going to try and destroy these. Each different person's turn goes through a different part, a different one of these, and you get back to here, and then you check. Did we get rid of the monster? So we look at this card. We didn't defeat all of the curses.
And getting rid of the monster just means defeating the curses they brought out, right?
Right,
Okay.
yes, good clarification.
All
So
right.
all these curses are still here. We
Yeah.
didn't get rid of them.
No, we did not.
So we look at the angry, fire-breathing monster.
Okay.
And he says all players discard all earth spells, which are the green ones, from their hands and their support. So you put all this effort into getting these cards out there and you have to get rid of them. Yeah, but if you were successful and you did get rid of the curses, you get a benefit. So each player draws 1 card. And all of these are going to be different each turn. The other important thing to look at here is that you can pre-plan a little bit. You know that a red curse, a white curse, and a blue curse are going to come out. So if you...
Because the double side here is...
Yeah.
I see, so it matches what's here. I gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. The next
So
creature.
when that flips over, you'll see that happen. So even if we didn't defeat this monster, we just move on. We go to the next monster, we're gonna flip it over, we put out the different curses, and then we move this marker to the next round. So these easy monsters, the beginning monsters, we just have to deal with these 3 curses.
Okay.
But as we get to the farther down rounds, starting in round 3, we have to deal with these curses. And then we're also going to add a multi-level curse.
Okay, so And that comes from this deck. So any that come from here, we take from this deck.
Yes.
It looks like, is this 3 different ways of playing, or what's?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to start out, first game that we play, on easy mode, where we get a few turns that are pretty
With
relaxed.
no bonus curses. Okay.
Exactly. But if you want to play on a harder mode or super hard mode, then you start out right off the bat with extra curses. Makes it very challenging.
This does seem challenging.
Yes.
But that's what you want in a co-op, right? If you just win it effortlessly, then there's not much point, and it's not very meaningful. But you want it to be tough so that when you do win it, it means something, right?
Exactly. And it will take a few playthroughs to figure out the strategy that's going to work for your particular team and figuring out which characters to play together.
Because they have unique abilities as well? Is that right?
They
so
do.
They have special abilities they can bring to the table?
Absolutely. And there are 10 different characters in this game. So you can really find a character that works for you, and they're going to have different starting elements, so you're really going to want to make a team together. If everybody just picks their own and doesn't talk to each other, you're probably going to lose.
Okay.
So that's a very important part of the game.
And is this game available now? Is it out already, or is it coming out?
This is coming out in December. So
December of 2015?
Yes,
Okay.
2015. So this is going to be a great Christmas present.
Excellent. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming and giving us a really good overview of all these components. And you can tell the artwork is just stunning. It's beautiful looking. And I think I have a pretty good sense of how this works now.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much. And I hope you do as well. Until the next episode, thanks for watching.